Hello friends, today I want to dive into this topic, land contract versus lease option. So land contract and lease options are some of my favorite elements to use when it comes to real estate investing, but which one is better? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear understanding of the difference between both lease options and land contracts and understand which one is used for which strategy and how they can benefit you as a real estate investor. Nothing can be more challenging as a real estate investor than understanding which strategy is right for you in the current market condition that we're in. A lot of it depends on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish, but both a land contract and a lease option can be an absolutely great strategy for you as a real estate investor. Let's dive in. I'm going to first explain what a land contract is and a lease option. Next, I'm going to cover which strategies actually are utilized in a land contract and a lease option. And finally, how I developed a strategy that morphed from utilizing land contracts to lease options that is absolutely crushing it in today's market. If you're ready, let's go. So a land contract is a legal agreement for a seller finance purchase that doesn't require a traditional bank financing or bank loan. Instead, the buyer makes periodic payments to the seller until the sales price is paid in full. A land contract is sometimes called a bond for title or contract for deed. So if you're a buyer, why would you want to utilize a land contract? Well, number one, if you're in a situation where you don't have money to put as a down payment or a credit worthy enough to get a bank loan, a land contract is a great option. It allows you to take possession of a property and have equitable title of that property. So what is a lease option? Essentially, a lease option is a rent-to-own strategy where the buyer is buying the home at a certain date down the road at a certain price that is agreed upon on day one. And there's a couple of components that are important for lease options. If you are a buyer who is looking to rent a home and buy it 2 years down the road, but take that home off of the market, you pay what's called option price to be able to do that. The option price is anywhere between 2 to 7% of the actual purchase price, and it's paid up front. And if you as the buyer do not execute and buy that home 2 years down the road, then the seller keeps that option price that you paid up front. However, if you do execute and you buy the home, that option price that you paid is counted towards your down payment. Also in a lease option, there's that monthly payment, and there's a certain percentage of that monthly payment that is also counted towards the down payment of the purchase of the home. And most of the times with a lease option, the buyer has the desire to buy the home, but they need to get things right as far as getting enough money for a down payment or getting their credit history in line to be able to get a traditional bank loan. So what strategies are utilized with these two different real estate elements of a land contract and a lease option? When it comes to a land contract, that is typically utilized in a strategy called a slow flip. Now, a slow flip is an awesome strategy. It's where you're looking to get a home well below market value, well below what it's listed at. And here's the goal behind a slow flip. You are utilizing private money to buy that home outright, cash up front, and you're financing it from a private money lender, and you're financing it as if you were financing a car, meaning you're financing that loan to you in a 5, 6, or 7 year period of time. However, you're turning around and you're selling that home that you now have bought with cash, and you're selling it for market value. Right? So let's say that you bought a home for $50,000 that was listed at $70,000. You're going to turn around and sell it for $70,000, and you're going to sell it as if it were a mortgage or a house, right? Over a 30-year period of time. And what you're looking to do in a slow flip is make sure the money that's coming into you, that's being paid to you by the buyer, is enough, that monthly payment, to cover the monthly payment that you're paying to the private money lender, right? And you can do that because you're charging a little higher interest rate because you're seller financing it. So let's say that $50,000 home, the payment at say maybe 12% annually or 10% annually, including principal and interest, is maybe somewhere around $950. And let's say that with the land contract you're utilizing and you're charging a higher interest rate and it's over a 30-year period of time, let's say that it's $1,000, right? You've got to make sure that the money coming in from the land contract is more than the payment you're making to the private money lender. If you do that, look what happens after, let's say it's a 7-year note, and after 7 years it's completely paid off. Now what's happening? You have $1,000 coming in every single month for the next 23 years. And if you were to do that strategy 10, 20, 30 times a year, it is an amazing way to build wealth. However, I looked at this strategy and I said, okay, is there a way to make this better? Because I don't like the idea of only making a small amount every single month on a slow flip. So I took that, flipped it on its head, and put something together called a lease option called cash flow flipping. where I'm doing a very similar strategy, but I'm utilizing a lease option versus a slow flip. So same scenario, home's listed at 70, I get it for 50, private money lender, I'm able to close on it really quickly, cash only. He's charging me 12% interest, but I'm paying him an interest only payment. I turn around and I do a lease option to the buyer. That buyer has the option to buy it from me at $70,000 2 years down the road. They pay me that option money up front of say $2,000 that I'll utilize towards the down payment. I'm charging them say $1,000 a month, but I'm counting $100 of their monthly rent towards their down payment. So I'm receiving $1,000 a month. I take $100 and I stash it away for them, and I'm taking my net of $900, and out of that I'm paying $500. 12% of $50,000 is $6,000. Divided by 12 is $500 a month. So I'm netting $400. I'm getting $900, paying $500, netting $400. Now at the end of this term with this cash flow flipping strategy, I'm going to flip the home to the person who has the option to buy it from me down the road. Now they've paid me $2,000 plus $100 a month over 24 months, which is $2,400. I'm utilizing $4,400 that they've paid me towards their down payment. They get a traditional loan. The bank pays me $70,000 roughly. I have $70,000. I take $50,000 of that. I pay off my private money lender. I've made $20,000 on the purchase. And over the course of 2 years, I've made an additional $9,600 of cash flowing every month. I've made almost $30,000 in 2 years off a property that I did not utilize any of my money and very little risk out of my pocket. And if you want to learn how to do this strategy step by step, I've got a book called Cash Flow Flipping that I created. It's an ebook and it's 100% free to you. All you got to do is click on the link, cashflowflipping.com. Thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.